Hi, welcome back. It's on TV RPG once again, and I'm here to discuss my Starfinder campaign, Drifters. No epic pronunciation this time, since it's just a casual chat. I want to discuss what I'm doing with the campaign and the settings. Now, I have the books, and I've been reading up on them, and I've been using them as a jumping off point, rather than a strict set of rules to abide by. What I do is I usually take the main rules and I use them to inform my story, but not regulate it. So I take the basic idea of the setting and I kind of shift it to my own. So things will not be as they are in the book. Like if for some reason I say the Vex have made a daycare center, and people are like, wait, the Vex don't do that. They don't make daycare centers. Well, in my world, they do, because I like the idea of having the lore that I can kind of shift around to meet my needs. And it also helps for players, so that way they're not expecting something like, oh, well, this Vex is warlike, so if I decide to do this with him, he'll be up for it, right? Well, I like to play against expectations. I want to keep it a free-flowing thing, like the gap. You can't explain the gap in Starfinder, but I use that as big uh, a big impact for my main plot that's going to happen around these guys. They have no idea what it is yet, but it involves them all in a unique way, and the gap. Now, I'm not going to try to explain how the gap became, but more of what happens if someone was to try to find Galarian. Who knows, right? Well, that's what I try to do is I find something that makes it epic, that can make the characters that I tie each character somehow to this main quest without them really knowing it. I want to inform it throughout the story campaign. Also, rules and skills that my character, or not my characters, but my players roll. It's I like to use the what they have in the book, but I also like to use them in a unique way, like their profession skills. They all have a unique profession which helps them in things like hacking, which would be normally under computers, but I like the idea that she's very specialized in a certain field of computers, so it makes her better at it. Wyla, who's played by Devin, uh, was really into the idea of being a hacker, going into the interweb and just doing all this cool stuff. And I was like, that's a really cool idea. Maybe we can make that profession and we can use that for a skill. I also use the profession kind of as the who's who. Let's say you want to find a drug dealer. Well, you have profession in blah blah blah. You could possibly use that. But if the profession's not correct, well, you'll get a massive penalty to it. Like the bookkeeping that Drevi does, played by Josh. That's actually a very versatile profession, since he has a lot of information to him. He can kind of find everybody, but he does get a penalty. While he can find everybody, he gets more of a penalty. So it's useful, but also kind of not. Then the starship combat. I have decided to skew away from starship combat. It's a bit too complex to kind of throw into the game. I'll I use each character to their advantage when doing uh, when they fly the drift. I don't actually have them doing combat, but I make them all do certain roles to affect how well they fly and how long they stay in the drift. And if you're watching during one of the drifts they did, they actually did a crit fail on one of their rolls, which had them in the drift a lot longer. And I started to think about the idea. Usually you're in the drift 1d4 days. Well, what would happen if for some reason you were there longer? It could potentially drive a man insane. And I was like, that's a good idea. I should use that. And that's something that I like to incorporate. Things that might be minuscule, but if you think about it, could be turned. And that's pretty much all that I wanted to say about the campaign for Starfinder. Oh yes, one more thing. Yes, alignments. I don't usually do things with alignments because look, alignments are fine if you want to use them to inform your character, but I think they put too much restriction on players. I think it should be more about your actions more than what you are supposed to do. Like paladins, everyone hates paladins because, you know, bruh, they are supposed to be the good guy, lawful good. We do nothing bad. We are enforcing the law. If you do not do the law, we kill you. That's an example of a paladin apparently stuck to his code. But that really isn't. It's just a silly stereotype. Paladins can be amazing characters who don't have to be, oh, well, you did something bad, so I'm going to arrest you forever. No. A good a good player character knows how to use a paladin correctly. So if they're with a group with a thief, they're not be like, you stole things, how dare you? I'm going to arrest you, because that would ruin the whole group dynamic, and you could never have a thief and a paladin together. What you do is you try to. He's not really the wet blanket, but he's kind of like, look, guys, I can't, I cannot myself do this crime, but I understand it's for a greater good, and that's what's my struggle. So I will not be reporting this, but I cannot participate myself. I still don't know what to do. Make this a conflict for him. Make this something that he has to struggle with. Maybe he has to pray to his God more. Like, let me pray to my God. See if he can help me in this matter. Or maybe it's something like, since this is for the greater good, I have to allow it. I'll have to, maybe he has to do more good deeds to counteract how bad this is. Like, oh, he's stealing from the Grand Duke, but maybe he like, yes, I'm stealing from the Grand Duke, but this is paying for the orphanage. Or like he does this, but only because he needs a certain item that would save the world, and he will not participate in the plunder of the legal deeds. That's why I don't like alignments. I think it should be more of a, well, there's an orphanage. I need to save them. But you're chaotic neutral, so you wouldn't save them. Oh yeah, you're right. I won't do that. No, it should be like, I should save them because even though I am chaotic neutral, back in my childhood, a event happened, and I would have been completely different if someone would have saved me. So this is a character moment for me that I might be able to change myself and yeah, oh, that's something else. Changing your character very slowly so that way he's no longer chaotic or he's no longer good or whatever. That's something else that the alignment penalizes, which I always find ugh. Because if it happens naturally, it makes sense. So maybe this is the start of the neutral guy. Like, if somebody would have saved me back in the day, I could have changed, so I'm going to do it this time. And he starts, doing small things that increase his so-called goodness, but still, that's something that I think is a better system than alignments. Well, is there anything else I want to discuss about the whole Starfinder and how I'm running it, and apparently alignments? I don't think so. Oh, yes, races. There we go. Here's another one. How I'm running races. I really hate the idea that, some races are considered evil by nature. I don't like the idea. I like the idea of more of society or the environment they grow in that changes them. So sometimes I'll take a bad character, or I'm sorry, not bad character, a bad race and use them for, good. Sometimes they will be bad, sometimes they will be good. It depends on who they are. Like, for instance, maybe you run across a tribe of orcs who were blessed with a great well and a lively forest, so they actually have no need to raid. Yes, they're warlike, but they have actually no need to raid or attack villages. They're actually a peaceful, well, not peaceful, but they're a very non-hostile tribe. And maybe the characters come across it and go like, "Wow, you guys aren't going to attack us? No, come on, come in. I want to join in. We're actually getting ready for a thing." It confuses them. Like, wait, these orcs aren't, gonna attack or destroy, but they're supposed to be evil. Well, they're not because, you know, they are not the same as an orc that you met, 5 days ago that was kill crazy. It all depends on how they grew up. So that's kind of why, like, there'll be different races strewn out throughout the entire game. They're like, wait a minute, is that guy evil? Not necessarily. Oh, yes, and God slash mysterious characters. I like to put those into the plot to kind of as kind of a quest hooks. Like, oh wow, and also kind of deterrence. Like, for example, Xander Mendos, the god of beauty, love, blah 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 blah, as you saw in the campaign, has just made Marcus, who's played by Jake, into his avatar. That actually was not supposed to happen, but I kind of liked the way that kind of evolved, and it can provide more openings for stories. Before that happened, I actually had a bigger story for them to follow involving him, but I've decided to change it because of how it evolved. Then there's Zur, the a item merchant that gave them something, and he asked for payment, but not yet. He's waiting for something, so that's another kind of quest hook, you know. And as a deterrent, okay, well, like Vex, like the not Vex, well, a Vesk. Um, we have both. I'm sorry, Siren and Ward. Ward and Siren are both very high level PCs. I mean, not PCs, NPCs that they have not officially taken on, except for one character who died because of them. But they're supposed to be very high level because they are, in fact, very high warlords. And it kind of deters the characters from trying to just straight up take on any fight when they know that they are not, at least they have to gain their strength, and they have to gain, strategy to actually be able to overthrow one of these guys if they ever want to. Because if for some reason Ward was a level 2 character, they could easily take him over and become the warlords of the new of Avalon Station. So by showing the power, or by showing the strength in numbers that the NPC might have, it kind of deters away from trying to do something rash, like trying to shoot Ward for no reason, because it might end up very badly for them. And yeah, that's pretty much it for what I want to say about Starfinder. Uh, uh, whether or not I might do some more videos about, cool topics of RPGs that I want to discuss. But for now, thanks again for watching. It's been SaltyV RPG. Once again, bye and thanks.